a paper at the SVP claiming that Microraptor's feathered legs could act as a second set of wings, enabling the dinosaur to take really sharp corners in flight. Now, the only point I would make here is, so what? Even if it did, how is it not just a really well-designed bird?
Microraptor was not a bird. It clearly had a dinosaur-like skeleton. If it didn't have feather impressions, creationists would say it's clearly a dinosaur, because it clearly is.
I'm ignoring the multiple assumptions being made here, which other evolutionary scholars are not ignoring, evolutionary scholars such as Kevin Padian, who is arguing that the study focused on gliding when he contends the forelimbs were for flapping. Now, frankly, unless we saw this thing flying for ourselves, there's not a whole lot you can say, because science is based on observation.
Science is based on observation, and we can observe that the skeletons of Microraptor have a very weak keel, where modern birds have a very strong, a very well-developed keel, which anchors the pectoral muscles for flapping. So Microraptor wasn't very good at flapping, therefore it wasn't very good at flying. It was more likely a glider.
A second paper came out in Science this past week from Zelenitzky et al., documenting what appears to be the first feathered dinosaur in North America. The Orthomomanus specimens were excavated in Alberta, Canada, one of which is already on display in the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Drumheller, Alberta. And the newly reported fossils will be on display in the Tyrrell later on this fall. Now, while I obviously disagree with the evolutionary conclusions portrayed at the Royal Tyrrell Museum, I highly recommend that you visit it. And then after you're done there, take a short drive just north of there to Canada's first permanent creation museum, the Big Valley Creation Science Museum.
I'll pass.
Now, in the case of Zelenitzky's paper, it would appear that this is a genuine feathered animal, as it appeared to have quill anchors in the bones. However, here we go again with the blurring of distinction between dinosaurs and birds. Ornithomimus is remarkably like the ostrich, and was probably nothing more than a flightless bird.
This is the first time I've heard a creationist called Ornithomimus a bird. It clearly has a long dinosaur tail and well-developed arms with 3 digits on its fingers, like a theropod dinosaur that it is. I don't even think Answers in Genesis would make the argument that Ornithomimus was a bird. I think they would just say, no, it didn't really have feathers.